Hi all, it's Kimberly and welcome back to the Lumen Guru. Thank you to the new subscribers and thanks to those of you who have been following and are always supporting the channel. I appreciate that. Those of you who are not as familiar with my soul coaching techniques, I'm going to try to post more videos around topics for ascension, topics for twin flames to help you navigate your journey. And if any of you are desiring to explore those topics personally and take that behind the scenes one-on-one, you can reach out to me for a coaching session, and that's on theilluminedguru.com. Okay, and the links are on the channel art. So in this video, I wanted to talk about something that I feel like is coming up in the collective, as well as personally for me, as well as I'm seeing it with my clients, is this notion of where and how we reject ourselves. And how that creates sometimes distance, closed heart chakra or closed-heartedness, and sometimes even we sabotage our relationships when we are not self-approving, when we're rejecting ourselves in any way. So I'm actually going to pause the video because there is something I want to read you. So I'll be back in a moment. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I had to grab a book because when I delve into this a little bit, there are some quotes and things that I want to read to you. And I'll get to that in just a moment. So when we are rejecting ourselves, feeling, this could be for any reason. This could be that we feel like we have a tarnished, our ego is tarnished for some reason. It could be because we're not living up to the way that we think that we should be, or the way that we want others to perceive us. It could be that we have shame, right? We have shame, things that we're hiding away, pieces of ourselves that we're hiding away. And the reason why I feel this video is so important to you at this time is because one of the things we're being called to do in the collective is to become fully transparent. And recently I've even heard healers talk about how the need to be, perfect, or to, hide away the fact that they are wounded in some way or ill or not perfect, right? And all of your healers, all of your mentors have their own stuff and are going through their own stuff. And I think the beautiful part around this journey is anyone like myself who's on their mission, where I'm navigating it too. I'm maybe further ahead, or maybe have some tools that I'm transmuting in a different way so that I can guide you, because that's what I've been called to do. That's my purpose. That's my mission. But I still go through it. And that's part of how I can help you. And I've gone through so much in my history that I can use that wisdom and experience, not just what I've learned through having a soul coaching certification. So I want you to think about owning the sum of your experience, good and bad, the things that you're not, wanting to admit to. I think in this community and spiritual communities, there's this notion of if you're going to be a teacher, you're going to guide, that you need to be perfect and you need to be completely healed. And I think the best people that are serving their mission, they're navigating this journey too, and they're transmuting the energies. They've been called to use their gifts and to either teach or read or heal. And those are innate gifts. Those are divine gifts. But then on top of that, they're learning and they're navigating, and then they're transmuting that energy. And I know that's how it is for me. But I have recently heard a lot of my clients being really hard on themselves and rejecting themselves in many ways. And I've even heard healers, like I said, rejecting themselves. And I want you to understand that there is this idea that many of us have around being perfect, especially if we are empaths and we want to be seen like we probably have some wounding, most of you watching this video, because I work with so many of you. I know that many of you have either been overgivers or over pleasers, or want to win the love or attention, want to be seen as good. If you've been victimized anywhere in your childhood in any way, or in your experience in any way, there's a need to prove yourself, to want to prove yourself. And all of that is keeping you from your authentic expression and stepping all the way into your authenticity. So when we have those things, it's very important that you acknowledge them. And this runs the gamut. This could be, like I said, it could be shame or guilt for things that we've done or ways that we've been in the past, identities that we have disowned within ourselves, ways that people have misconstrued us, because maybe there's a subconscious something in there or maybe they're projecting onto us, feeling like we're not being seen or heard or loved for who we are, and then in return rejecting ourselves. And there is shame that comes with that. There is shame. And I wanted to read to you, and I've referenced this before, but from the Discovering Your Soul signature book by Panache Desai. It's going to take me a minute to get my hands on it. I should have had this ready for you, sorry. But I wanted to read to you what he says about shame. This is a great book, by the way. It's not just about illuminating your soul's purpose, but he actually takes you through all the layers of what you're needing to let go of emotionally, how you can release these emotional aspects that are holding you back from your authenticity and discovering that soul's purpose. And so he takes you through this regimen of exploring each of these emotions, anger and fear and guilt. But I particularly want to talk about shame, because I feel like for some of you, that's where it's coming from right now. Like you're ashamed. There's something that's being hidden away. There's a piece of you that you're hiding away. You're ashamed to be imperfect. You're ashamed to, not be the way that you want to be perceived. And so I will read this to you. I'll read tidbits of it. So he says, shame and guilt are both born of judgment, but there is a distinction between them. Shame is silent. We wear our guilt and we hide our shame. We'll share our guilt. It's a way in which we look for acceptance. We purge ourselves, telling our best friend, our sister, or brother. We confess our supposed sins to God or to a clergy, but we don't share our shame. Instead, we lock it away in a dark closet where we hope it will never be revealed, but all the while it is shaping our lives. These could be, like I said, things of the past, or this could be like things of the now that you're not wanting to expose because you think it would be a put off to someone or that they won't accept you. So this is where we're hiding pieces of ourselves away. So he talks about he says, because that which we do not bring into the light of day controls us. So that which we do not bring into the light is going to control us. So it's really important at this time, I feel particularly this message is very divinely timed, that we look at what we're hiding away, that we're not wanting to expose, where we are rejecting ourselves in some way for fear of rejection, for fear of disapproval, for fear of, there's some fear in there, right? Okay, that's controlling us. He says shame leads to isolation, and the antidote for shame is intimacy, which is authentic vulnerability, okay? And he says these emotional states are one and the same. So intimacy and authentic vulnerability is the same. He says in order to be truly intimate with another person, we must be authentically vulnerable. And so I think this is where we get into that place of where we either hide ourselves or we push away. And this is very common in the twin flame dynamic. And these are insecurities. These are skeletons in our closet. These are the places where we're rejecting ourselves. This is the cause for the push-pull energetically in the twin flame dynamic very often, where you're not feeling good enough, or you're not feeling, or there's something that you're hiding. And then this whole journey is about stepping into your authenticity. That's what this whole journey is. Unconditional love, loving yourself, and becoming truly authentic. That's what enables you to serve. That's what enables you to give purely. So he gives you an exercise in this, and he says, look into your own eyes in the mirror. Just relax and breathe. Maintain your gaze. See the part of you that is sacred. See your soul. See the truth of you. Witness the part of yourself that cannot be tarnished, the simple part of you that is free of the complexities of life. From this place of intimacy with yourself, speak the truth that cannot be spoken, your deepest shame. I promise you that this deep shame is shared by every single human being. By voicing it, you are letting it go. By remaining silent, you are feeding it, allowing it to increase in density and energetic frequency. That means that when it's dense in there, that means it's a point of attraction. Okay, so you're either going to get the critics or you're going to affect reactions from that energy. It's going to weigh you down. It's going to hold you back. It's going to keep you back from your authenticity. He says, alone in a room, allow for the huge breaking open of the dam you've created because you believe you're awful. You are not alone. We think you're alone. We think we're alone in our awfulness, but we're not. In fact, we're not awful. We're one and the same. He goes on then to give you other exercises and to talk about the concept of unworthiness. He says, you might be thinking, who, me? I don't feel shame. I've worked through all of that. But he says, shame is insidious. It doesn't present itself in neon lights. In your daily life, it won't manifest as shame. What it will feel like, and I'll bet this is something you felt on a regular basis, is unworthiness. That's right, he says, unworthiness. Now, do I have your committed attention? He says, a friend or colleague pays you a compliment. Your sister says something kind to you. Your boyfriend buys you flowers and you can't receive it. So this is where we're talking about that closed heart chakra. There's a fear of being rejected. There's the shame that's living inside of you. And it's closing you up so that you can't receive. And this is all of your divine feminine energy that's being blocked. And he says, your body language is to back away. You might duck your head or gesture your hands like no, pushing the compliment away, or even running away. Wait, twins run away, right? Twin flames can run away when there's a part of themselves they don't want to see or be exposed. Maybe you'll blush, you'll go a little emotionally numb, you'll feel embarrassed. There's a whole gamut of scenarios, right? He says this is shame at work. Shame is the undercurrent that keeps you living in the belief that you are unworthy of all the bounty life has to offer. Somewhere along the way, we have internalized the belief that we are, in our deepest selves, defective and wrong. So think about that. Think about where you've shamed yourself, where you're hiding things away, where you've rejected yourself, where there's been tarnishes on things you've done, things you've regretted, right? So this is a chapter in here about regrets. Any piece of yourself where you felt rejected or unworthy. Because he explains that shame's not a natural human emotion. Shame is, he says babies aren't born feeling shame. We manufacture it within ourselves as punishment for not adhering to the norms of society. But here's a provocative idea. If we feel shame for our private thoughts and actions, we cannot know other people's private thoughts and actions. So we compare our insides to other folks' outsides. So then this comes down to the notion of comparison thinking, right? Which we all do. And if you want to read, I do have a blog on this on Vibe Up. You can go to vibup.com. And I think the name of the blog is It's No Contest. And I wrote an entire blog about comparison thinking. And so you might want to read that as well. The roots of it. So it digs more into that. He says, so basically that makes so much sense, right? So because you don't know the other person's shame, basically you're comparing your ugly inside or your tarnished inside or your rejected inside to someone's facade, right? And we do this on social media. We just do this in general because we don't see that vulnerability, or we don't see that people aren't wearing that openly, right? Shame is something that's tucked away. He says shame keeps each of us in our own dark closet, hidden from the light of day. There's a lot of good stuff in here. I'm not going to read it all. I highly recommend that you get this book. It's called Discovering Your Soul Signature by Panache Desai. He gives you exercises to help you work through this the becoming observer of this during the day, confronting it, bringing it into the light. And it's really well written, and I think this would help you. I think that this is a big piece of the runner-chaser dynamic with twin flames. I think that when we reject ourselves, we tend to run or push away. There's so many layers of all of this work, and there's another layer in which I help you facilitate when you take my intensive program, which there's an intensive course coming up on September 10th. If you haven't heard about that yet, check that out on theilluminguru.com. You will learn how to self-validate. You'll learn the root causes of why you're feeling unworthy, and then you'll learn techniques for how to self-validate and self-approve. And it takes practice. This is a practice. This is not something, your self-mastery is not something that just comes overnight. And some of you might be saying, well, I've done it all already. I've done my healing, or I've done so much healing, I don't know why it didn't work. And I can tell you it's because you probably didn't have the right tools, and you haven't been in practice of it enough with the right tools. There are ways, there are methods that you can learn how to do this, and it needs to be done in tandem with healing the root issues around unworthiness, right? So most of you who are carrying this around, like I said, we all carry shame to some degree, but I think for empaths especially, there's somewhere in your childhood or light workers, not just empaths, but light workers, empaths, all of you on this journey, there was somewhere in your childhood where you split from your divine self. And there was wounding or trauma or something that has caused you to not be in alignment with that truth. You know how he said, look into the mirror, see your sacred self, the one that's not tarnished. And so when you think about the ways in which you're trying to prove yourself or get people to approve of you, or the way that you cling to an ego identity, or the way you want to be seen or need to be, acknowledged or loved or seen or validated from others, that all stems from where you're not able to do that from within because of those core wounds and because of that. So when I help you through this work, I help you understand the root of it and clear those blocks, as well as give you the practice tools so that you can practice it on a day-to-day basis, practice the worthiness, practice the self-validation. And so therefore you can start to eliminate where you're running away from yourself, where you're rejecting yourself. And that helps ease the push-pull runner-chaser dynamic for twin flames. And not just for twin flames, but for anyone on this journey, this is going to show up in many areas of your life. So ask yourself, where have I been running away? Where have I been rejecting myself? Where have I pushed people away? I think we've all done that. We're not inability to receive, right? Like you can't accept the compliment, can't accept the gift, can't, so many clients I work with, and I was like this, in my earlier days as well, as, there's like a need to be independent or to prove yourself in that sort of false masculine energy. And that came from a deep, deep wound of unlove or rejection by your parents or whoever was there at your upbringing. And also it comes in from past life stuff, right? From persecution complexes and past life trauma. We clear all of that in my intensive program, so check that out. But for whatever reason, those root causes, those root things are needing to be brought into light as well and re-experienced and cleared. And for anyone in this journey, it is so, 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 so important that we become mindful of this, because at this time, there's no other way. This is what we're being asked to do in this huge up-leveling, is to step into our authenticity. It's only going to help you step forward onto your mission. I think you guys know I was pretty open about, I try to be very open. I have things that I'm ashamed of too, and I hide things too. I'm no different or better than anyone else. But I try to be as transparent as I can about my experience, because I believe by doing that, it perpetuates more transparency, and it gives permission for others to be okay, to show their wounds, to share their wounds. And I believe that that's how we learn. It's from one another, and by making that okay. What would happen if we just all made that okay, to show our wounds? And I think that does happen a lot on the comments and the videos. If you read the comments, people are sharing, what they're going through. And if I've opened up that dialogue, that's great. If you're already in that way, that's great. But look at the places where you're still concealing, you're still hiding, you're still tucking yourself away, or you're afraid to bring those things into light. And you don't have to be perfect or completely healed to serve your mission. You just have to come into alignment with yourself and be working on yourself. You don't have to be like me. I mean, I wanted to hide away this. You guys know, if you watch my past videos, I have a major thing going on with my eyes. And all these things ran through my head. Oh my God, people are going to criticize me. You're a healer, but you can't heal yourself. Did you look at the non-traditional things? Did you balance your chakras? Did you do the emotional stuff? And I have done all of that, and I'm working through a lot of that. It's going to be a process for me to get this all in balance. And I am going a homeopathic route to heal my eyes. It's going to take a while though. But do you think that I didn't think all of those thoughts when I told you guys, oh, I'm having this issue with my eyes? Like, of course I did. Of course I did. But the thing about it is I'm human too. And sometimes when we're healing ourselves or dealing with ourselves, the things that we're dealing from within, we have to really get so in touch with, like I call it, your inner healer, and your divine gifts, your divine knowing. And that's very hard to do sometimes because it gets covered up by stuff. So when you have close, dear friends, like I have very close, dear friends who I've had conversations with, and they've been able to gently reflect back to me what they're feeling this imbalance is, because I haven't been able to fully see it myself. So that's helping. My eyes are already getting better. So, but slowly. So that's helping. So seek other people's guidance, those who you trust, and allow that to help you. And then seek out the tools that you need so that you can just own it, so that you can say, hey, I'm not perfect. And it's okay. I'm not rejecting myself anymore. So I can stand here with an open heart. And in that way, I can be open and transparent for others so that I can serve my mission. Okay, it's not about being perfect. And I know this covers a whole gamut of topics. We're talking about transparency, shame, unworthiness, but they all layer on top of one another. So I hope this was not confusing. I hope it was clear for you and it gave you some food for thought. I'm going to leave you for that. And as I said, in a few days, I'll be back with an interview with my friend who is also a healer and a coach. And we'll be talking about some of the current energies as we're both experiencing it, representative of the collective. So if you want to work one-on-one, theilluminguru.com, or check out the intensive program. If you want to read that blog article I mentioned, it's vibup.com. And I think the blog is called It's No Contest. It's the one about comparison thinking. And if you want to buy this book, Panache Desai, Discovering Your Soul Signature, I'll see you guys all next time. Love to you. Mwah. Bye.